On this week's 2-minute tip, we're talking about straddle weeding. Straddle weeding? What in the world is that? Well, straddle weeding is something we can do with our double wheel hoe or our high arch wheel hoe that allows us to straddle a row of plants and cultivate or weed both sides of the row in one pass. Straddle weeding is a technique that's going to allow you to weed or cultivate really close to those plants and maybe even throw a little dirt on the plants to help encourage more root development. So behind me here I've got several rows of beets that I planted with our row maker tool on a previous video, and I'll put a link up top here so you can check that out if you haven't seen it. I planted these single rows of beets on really tight spacing, 1 foot apart, and that's going to really allow me to maximize my garden space, and it's also going to provide the perfect opportunity to utilize this straddle weeding technique to keep the area nice and clean as these beets grow. With the double wheel hoe and the high arch wheel hoe, there's several different options or attachment configurations that we can use for straddle weeding. The first one is this setup right here that we call our spreader bar bonus. So this includes our spreader bar here and 2 of our 6-inch oscillating hose. And you basically put the oscillating hose on the far ends of the spreader bar, mount this up to the wheel hoe, and you've got this space right here where you can straddle that row of plants, and these 2 oscillating hoses are going to cultivate both sides of the plant and remove those weeds as you work along the row. Another option is to use the cultivator teeth, which are included with every wheel hoe we ship. And what I like to do here is take the cultivator teeth and put one behind each wheel, whether it's on the double wheel hoe or the high arch, and that allows me to go through there. And these are going to throw up a little more dirt than the oscillating hose will. So if you want to kind of heal those plants a little bit, the cultivator teeth are a great option for that. And the third option for straddle weeding are these new wing sweeps right here. And we have these in a 4-inch blade like this one, or in a 6-inch wide blade. And I use these much like I do the cultivator teeth. I'll put them right behind each wheel, maybe a little bit to the outside of the wheel. And these things are going to work great if you want to dig a little deeper than the cultivator teeth will. On the double wheel hoe, we've got about a 5 to 6 inch clearance there on the axle. So we can straddle those plants until they get about 6 inches tall. On the high arch wheel hoe, we've got a much higher clearance, which is about 15 inches. So we can straddle those plants as they get a lot taller. And for most crops like beets, that's going to be plenty enough clearance to straddle those plants throughout their lifetime. So maximize the space in your vegetable garden by planting things on tight spacings and using strategies like straddle weeding to keep those areas nice and cultivated, clean, and weed-free. I hope you enjoyed this week's 2-minute tip. We'll see you next week.